grades, yes, will always be important. Yes, and test scores will also be equally important as of now because they're the best ways of measuring a student's ability to succeed in school. But really the more important thing that students can do to start preparing now is to start developing what I like to call soft skills. So developing more higher emotional intelligence, being more aware of what they want to achieve in life, what their vision is, and to start building that vision, I think is really important and crucial.
Hey, Dr. Bill here. So we have come up to 96 out of 42,000 podcasts. Our podcast is 96th in our categories. We're super excited. Keep listening. They're really good ones. We're posting a new one today with the amazing Heather Dubrow. Okay? So in preparation for Leap Week 2020, we do these Meet the Mentor interviews, which we then turn into a podcast. And today we're going to bring back somebody who came and spoke to us before. So I'm going to give a little introduction of Sophia, and then we'll get right into it. All right? So Sophia Chang has been in college counseling and test prep for the last 8 years. She possesses a natural ability to draw out strong, engaging personal stories from students for their college statements. She's worked with families and students of all backgrounds and goals, and it's helped motivate and prepare numerous students for colleges of their choice, including top Ivy League colleges to smaller colleges with big programs. She started Magenta Ed to provide a place for students to be informed, confident, and motivated for success through personalized test prep and college counseling services. Thank you for coming back
Thanks
again.
For having me.
And you were such a big hit last time, and you got a bunch of your students to sign up, which we also appreciate. So let's just start off right off the bat. What do you think are some of the most challenging things for students to deal with as they're applying for college?
The biggest challenge is figuring out what they need to submit to colleges. So of course, the key things are, number one, your grades have to be, pretty strong. Depending on the schools you're targeting, you have to have your test scores in order, your SAT, ACT scores, maybe even some SAT subject tests, as well as have a really good idea as to why you're applying to college in the first place. So kind of organization is one of the biggest challenges for students, knowing exactly what they need to complete and what they need to submit.
And what do you think are the most important things for students to start thinking about as they, start this college application process? And when is it like the right time? Should you start in 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade? Because I know a lot of times, you guys are doing your best to get these kids into colleges, and it's like applications are due next week. What took you so long? So what's the ideal timing on it as well?
Exactly. So, a lot of students, some wait until the last minute to get everything together, but really the true preparation starts now, whatever grade you're in. And what I mean by that is, grades, yes, will always be important. Yes, and test scores will also be equally important as of now because they're the best ways of measuring a student's ability to succeed in school. But really the more important thing that students can do to start preparing now is to start developing what I like to call soft skills. So developing more higher emotional intelligence, being more aware of what they want to achieve in life, what their vision is, and to start building that vision, I think is really important and crucial. Because we all know grades and test scores will be important. So maintaining that is of course something you want to, prioritize, but beyond that, it's really about focusing on what it is you want to achieve and what your dreams are and what your vision is. So,
what do you think is the best way for students to do that?
So there's a lot of distractions in this generation. Cell phone use is of course really rampant. I myself use my cell phone all the time. It's at the tips of our fingers like all the time, but I'm not saying not to use it, but I think one of the best ways is to minimize the use of cell phones. And I say that because there's a lot of research and studies too where cell phone use can also really hinder cognitive abilities, decision making, executive functioning, etc. So I like to help my students prepare for some of the stresses that will come and the challenges of the whole process by implementing some more positive habits into their lives and to be more mindful as they start their journey in high school, to start thinking about what it is they want to achieve for themselves and use a time that they're not on their cell phones to think about these things earlier on. It's never too early to start thinking about these things. So
yeah, and I think another thing that's really important, you guys, is be smart with your social media. If you don't think that colleges are going to go on your Facebook page or go on your Instagram page and see you with a bong, you're wrong. So really be smart about what you're posting, because everything that you put out there, they're going to see it, and I would hate for you not to get into school because they think you're like a stoner, right? Well, speaking of that, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see kids making today?
Going to the social media, being unaware of the fact that people can access and view your social media accounts at any time. So you have to be really careful of that. I have a lot of students who just post pictures and videos not thinking about the effects it can have. The other mistake is not checking.
Your college does not want to see you in your birthday suit.
Right. And the other thing is a lot of times students don't check their emails frequently enough, and especially in this day and age where everything is so instant, we do text messaging and whatnot, a lot of students fail to read their emails as often, especially when they're in the process of applying to colleges, and that is a big no-no because I've had many students who miss really important emails during that time, because a lot of colleges will require additional documents during the process, and if you fail to check your email in time and you miss that deadline, well, then you've missed your chance of even being considered at that point. So going back to cell phone use and social media, just being super aware and alert and being smart about it is, I think, an important reminder to keep for all students as they begin the process and are in the process of it.
I know that you speak all over the country and you've kind of established some very basic core habits that you think are beneficial for students, and maybe you can share them with our audience.
Sure. So, aside from, the grades and test scores and all of that, going back to, having the time as early as now, whatever grade you're in, to really think about what it is you want to achieve in life. Going back to that, it's important to kind of implement positive habits in your life, and one of the things that I found can be helpful is taking 10 minutes before you go to bed to unplug from social media and cell phone use. So what I like to do is I will set my alarm because I need to wake up in the morning, but then immediately after I will silence it and keep it outside of my bedroom so I'm not tempted to look at the phone. And I think doing that every night can really help you unplug, but also gives you that time to really think and reflect on the day, but also on the day after and the future, essentially.
Right.
So I think those are some good habits point to implement. The other thing is mindful breathing, actually. I know we've all done yoga here and there, but I find that this generation find themselves in a lot of stress and anxiety. A lot of it is social media driven, but just the stresses of being a teenager can be, a big challenge in and of itself. So mindful breathing is a great habit. Again, 10 minutes before you go to bed. It doesn't require any heavy lifting, but before you go to sleep, your phone is on silent, it's hopefully away from you, and take those 10 minutes to exercise, the breathing in and the out, like 5 times, to help you kind of ground yourself and to de-stress. And I think if you repeat that, they say, if you do something 21 to 30 days in a row, it becomes a habit. And I think breathing, as much as we do already, the mindful breathing can actually become almost second nature, especially when students are going through stressful periods of their lives. The breathing has, physiological effects. So it will slow down your heart rate, which will then help with your emotions and to help deal with them in a more emotionally intelligent manner, which I think is really important as students begin this journey. And I think it's really important for students to start practicing that kind of mindful thinking and awareness.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing too, my win thing, that's my very first thing I do every morning.
Yeah.
The first thing I wake up is I say win. What's important now? Like, what's my thing right today that I have to do?
I like that. Win. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. I have a friend whose name is Win.
Okay.
Win Akuda, one of my close friends. And he says, I say that to myself all the time. Win, win, win. All right. Next,
Yeah.
you have one more big one, right?
The other one is really repetition. So, repetition in the sense that you're constantly practicing, the art of being more aware of what it is you want to achieve.
Love that. Love
Um,
that.
Yeah, so repetition is really the third thing that I wanted to emphasize is minimize cell phone use that time to really kind of think about everything. Take that moment for yourself. Second, practice that breathing. Third, just repeat that, 1 and 2. So
Because practice makes
perfect.
No.
Permanent.
Even better, right?
Even better, yeah.
Because if you do it the wrong way, it's not perfect,
Mhm.
but it is permanent. Practice makes permanent. So, in our remaining time, talk to us a little bit about Magenta.
Sure. So at Magenta, I provide college counseling as well as test prep. And it really is to help students find their best potential and to bring that out. And to really make sense of how they can go about achieving what their vision might be. And if they don't have one, helping to find that motivation behind what they're doing. Because essentially, good grades, good test scores, they're important, but they don't mean as much unless you have a strong reason behind it and a strong motivation and, of course, a strong plan to then execute it. So I help with those steps for students.
And, we haven't really gone into like the business of Magenta, but, if you can kind of sit here today and project what you would like to see your company become in the near future, how would that look?
Well, Bill, I think you're doing something really great through LEAP, actually. I'd love to be on a grand scale like that where students can think of Magenta and think that's a place where I can find, my motivation and also a good plan to really, bring that vision to reality. So, essentially that's my vision is for that to happen. So
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And if people need to contact you or want to contact you, how would they do that best?
Sure. I have a website, www.magentaed.com.
I hope it's Magenta.
It is Magenta. And I also have an Instagram account. It's Magenta EDU. So you can follow me there, contact me there. If you have any questions, I can answer them as well. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Dr. Bill, over and out.